know. I have mine like right here.
Okay.
I feel like
when
it
I
kind of
sing,
works.
I'm like this. I'm like eating it. So.
Oh, you sing in your podcast?
No.
Oh.
Like I led worship yesterday.
Oh. I didn't realize. Okay.
You didn't know that?
No. All right.
Oh.
Take a breather. Okay.
See, I love this because I feel like we are so similar in lots of aspects that someone recently said, "What don't you do?" And I was like, play piano. But I can plunk out notes, so I guess I kind of
can play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Right?
So funny. Okay, well, let's dive in.
Do you want to pray first?
Yeah, let's do that. Do you want to lead us in prayer?
Sure.
Okay.
Dear God, I thank you so much for just our friendship, our relationship. I thank you for bringing us to this time together. Lord, I pray that our conversation would glorify you, would just encourage people, give them hope. I pray that you would let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. I don't know why my last one we prayed before I hit record, so that was good. So welcome back to the Multipurpose Mom Podcast, where we talk about all things faith, motherhood, business, all the chaos in between. So grab your coffee. I left mine on the desk, but that's okay. And we're going to jump right in. We're going to talk to my friend Trae. I'm going to read her little bio. Trae is a brand strategist and a storyteller who helps business owners uncover their voice, own their story, and show up with clarity. Through her work in photography, social media, and coaching, Trae guides entrepreneurs to connect authentically and build businesses rooted in who they truly are. She believes your story isn't part of your brand. It's the most powerful tool you have to grow it. So I actually didn't know until just now she has a podcast, so we'll link that in the show notes. I've known Trae probably 8 years-ish. I think Matthias was born.
Yeah.
Did I bring him to that thing?
Maybe?
I feel like, I don't know. It was just a random, we're both photographers.
Yes.
And it was just a random, photography meetup. And even though I'm, an extroverted introvert, I was like, I'm going. I got to meet people. It was for sure after he was born because I was, struggling with, all the things after having a baby at 40. Or maybe after having a baby.
And we have that in
general.
common, too. Yeah. I had Asher at 41.
Yeah. Yeah. So here we are. And she knits. Well, she used to.
I still knit. I knit for myself now.
Yeah, the most beautiful little creations for newborn photographers and for herself now. I love that. And now she's doing brand strategy. And
yes.
So we're a lot alike, she was just saying, because we're both just kind of in everything.
Yes, do lots of different things.
So tell us a little bit more about your branding. What made you decide to shift from...
Well, it actually happened before the pandemic.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people's aha moments happened during the pandemic. Mine was a little bit before. I saw this thing called brand photography. Some photographers were talking about it in Facebook groups, and there was one woman that was kind of leading the fray of brand photography, at least bringing it into focus for people, to use a photography pun. And I was really intrigued and decided to take her course, learned a lot about storytelling. I mean, I already was telling stories, but it was just newborn stories and maternity stories and family stories. But I actually really fell in love with brand photography because it is the storytelling of businesses.
Right.
And why that's important to me, both my parents are entrepreneurs. My dad has had his own business for... Well, he's been doing what he does for 50 years, but his business has been around for about 45 years. Wow. My sister is taking it over. My mom's been an entrepreneur, had several different things in the mix. She was my very first podcast guest. She was amazing.
I love that.
It has the most listens. It's really funny. It's called The Carrots Were on the Ceiling. And
I got to get a little fancier with my titles, huh?
And so, yeah. I just love being able to help people uncover what their brand strategy should be based on who they are created to be, based on themselves. And so I talk a lot about who you are and who that attracts.
Okay.
Not
so it's
about
really
pain
more
points.
than just showing up for a 90-minute photo shoot, capturing you're in your element. It's more...
Right. Well, what I found was people were coming to the photo shoot, hyped about it, ready for it. I took all the pictures, and then they were like, these are amazing. Now what do I do with them? And I was like, oh, well, this is the story that we're telling. And they were like, I didn't know that. Because they didn't have a story that they were coming to. They just knew they needed a headshot. They knew they needed stuff for socials. And then the overwhelm of like, well, what do I do now?
Okay. Yeah.
So really helping people uncover what the story is to tell. We're not creating something that doesn't already exist.
Right.
We're uncovering it together.
Okay. What has been which brand partner that you've worked with has been like your like that one that was like, wow, like this is it, like this is like that you really felt like you like uncovered the most for them or helped them discover the most about themselves?
That's a great question, and the reason why I like it so much is because I actually have aha moments with all of my clients. I know that sounds egotistical, but there's like this moment where they'll go,
I don't think it does, because you're passionate about what you do, and so you probably are finding those moments and everything.
They'll get this look on their face where they're like, oh, I've never thought of it that way before, and wow, you're right, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, this is my core foundation, whoa. And then I will say this, so far everyone in the first session cries.
Really?
Because they are so moved by what we uncover together.
Okay. And that's just like an interview process, not even the photo shoot part? Or
this is in my brand strategy process. So I have an 8-week course where I take people through, and we uncover your why, your origin story, your superpowers, how to communicate that on social media, how to show up authentically in a situation, networking, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Because people know, or they make an assumption of who you are within those first 7 seconds.
Right.
Right. And it's more than colors in the logo.
Right.
People often think, oh, I've got my branding done because I've got my logo and I've got my colors. Clearly I have my colors and you have yours.
Right.
But we're so much more than colors. And a cute logo.
Yeah.
It's this deep story. So we talk about the brand vision, where you're going in the future, the brand foundation, your mission. All of these things that you kind of learn in business school, but no one's really out there telling entrepreneurs, because I don't think a lot of us are going to business school. We're just cobbling it together, and I think that's the great part about being American.
Cobbling it all together.
I want to cobble.
And everything,
let's cobble together.
And I don't know. Do you know who Tressa Shaw is? Teresa. I always call her Tressa because it's phonetically spelled Tressa, but it's Teresa. She's a PPA member, and she's like she teaches a lot. And she asked in our local group, like, what are some things you would like? And I'm like, business. Like, nobody ever.
Yes.
Like, I can watch lighting all day and play with lighting, but I've been playing with business for 12, 13 years, and I'm here to tell you. But yeah, it's hard. So what do you feel like AI is doing to the future of people authentically finding their voices? Because if I see one more AI generated flyer.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, I think in some ways it's sucking the creativity out of our very existence.
Yeah.
And in other ways, I think that it can really be super supportive.
Yeah. Yeah. I just said that to I won't call her out because she might listen, but somebody had created, and I was like, not the AI flyer. And she's like, it's here. It's not going anywhere. And I'm like, you know what? I know it's not going anywhere, and I'm not anti-AI.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to create it. I don't want it to think for me. And I'm guilty. That probably sounded great. In the beginning, I was like creating my photography posts. Like I would just type it in. Here's a polished version. And then one day that sentence alone smacked me. And I'm like, polished version?
What does that mean?
Literally the least polished version of myself that my clients are getting.
Yeah.
Even photography clients.
Yeah.
Like, you text me at 10 a.m. I mean, I'm probably not answering, but I'm going to text you back and be like, it's good, girl. Like, like we're just.
And that's your brand. There's no polished me. And that's who you are.
Right.
And so being that fully, like whether or not that means throwing AI out, or if it means honing in on what it can really help you with.
Right.
But I think something, and I was like just giggling to myself because I think AI is a lot like a bra. Okay. It can be super supportive and perfect or not.
This is true. I like that. I like that.
So figuring out what you need AI to help you with. For me, it's all about helping with the nitty gritty details of figuring out stuff for me. So it's basically like Google Plus, not not the thing that was Google Plus, but like a highlighted version of a search engine.
Okay.
You know, I want it to present information to me in a way that I can tolerate and take in.
Yeah.
I want it to do research for me in a conversational way where you can't really do that with Google.
Right.
But AI isn't infallible. Like, it makes so many mistakes.
Oh.
And you have to be human enough to know when it's making the mistake.
Yeah. And so many people are just so quick to copy paste.
Yeah. Right. And like you said, you can always tell when it's an AI generated. Like 17,000 emojis. It's AI.
But I like emojis.
Right, but you're going to use them different than the machine.
Right, for sure. I'm not getting as creative enough to use the calendar emoji for the date and the time emoji or clock emoji. It's really all silly faces.
I was going to say, and I bet you have your emojis that you use all the time.
Yeah.
So I could probably tell when it's AI generated because it's not a you emoji.
For sure. That's so fun. So what else are you up to in life? You have 2 children. You homeschool,
I do.
correct?
I am
we
homeschooling.
We both homeschool.
Yes.
So
I teach at our co-op.
Okay.
So I teach a beginner's ASL class for small, tiny children.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. My sister is an interpreter, and my brother-in-law is deaf, and I grew up with deaf friends. So I'm not teaching the vast course. It's just like small for like 4 to 6 year olds.
Okay.
And the deaf woman who teaches was like, please take the small baby children. I would like to teach actual like more developed language and that sort of thing. So we do lots of fun and games. And then I also teach a reader's theater class, which is right up my alley. I'm 100% extrovert. I've never met a stranger. I meet people at the grocery store and like go over to their houses.
I want to be more, I go to those networking events. We were just at the Trae County Connections group, and I was just telling somebody, I don't know why I keep coming to these things. Like, I love going to them. I love networking, but get me in that crowded room and I'm like, I don't know where to start. Like, somebody has to approach me. And then, TC,
and I just go up to people.
TC puts us in groups, and don't you know, my very first connection was another photographer.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Of course. How am I going to land a gig now, TC?
Right.
Yeah. But it was
just
still,
how those
it was
goes.
still a great connection. It was pretty awesome.
You got to go with the flow, right?
Yeah. It was great to have an organic conversation, and my mind is blank right now. So let me think for a second. So you've been doing your branding strategy for 6, 7?
So the interesting thing is I developed the brand photography first in 2018.
And it just kind of evolved.
And then I was like, oh, wow, there's actually a gap here, and started to develop this 8-week program. It does have 2 optional additional weeks where we really fine tune the photo part of it.
Okay.
But people are finding great value in it because, like I said, you start from scratch. You don't really know where you're going. You're 5 years in. You're like, oh, I don't have a vision statement. What are my core values?
I don't think I have any of that.
Yeah.
I have a why statement for why we homeschool.
Yes.
I have to refer to that often.
Right. Well, and getting down to the deep thing that's within you, because most people, when you ask them your why, like if you're at a BNI group and they're like, okay, here's my 10-minute presentation about who I am, their why is like my dog and my husband, and that is actually not your why. It's a lot deeper than that.
Right.
It's a lot more than I'm doing this to bring home the paycheck, to fill in the gaps, to make the money.
Right.
There is something deep within everyone that resonates about why they're actually doing what they're doing.
Okay. And so how do you find it's probably not really an easy answer and not a full blanket answer, but what do you find is the most effective way to like help people figure that out?
So I always start with your origins.
Okay.
I feel like just like superheroes, the origin story is the most pivotal part. It's the most important to brand creation.
Okay.
I need to know where you came from. And usually it actually starts with like childhood, which is why people get emotional, because they're uncovering things that they're like, oh, I never put that together. This is why I'm doing this, because of this in childhood, or this emotional thing that I went through.
Okay.
Now I'm providing the answer for that.
So you're like a brand strategist, aka therapist.
A therapist, yeah. Actually, people have called me a brand therapist, which I think is a really good way of explaining what I do.
Yeah.
Because it is about why. But not why because you're like, oh, I do this because I like cameras and I'm a mom and I had a baby and then I just want to take pictures of my baby.
And so many people evolved that way.
Yes, but there's
Yeah.
a deeper reason. There's
sure.
always something deeper.
Yeah.
And if you can figure out what that is, you have the opportunity to create this magnetic brand
Okay.
that is built on something solid that you're never like, what was that again? What is my brand statement?
Right.
You're not trying to like come up with something. It's just
Right.
who you are. It's
Right.
already inside
And
you.
I think, I mean, I for sure have never done that with my photography, and probably not as in depth, even creating Multipurpose Mom. Like the Lord gave me this title 20 years ago when I started my first blog.
Yeah.
And even recently, because, I have like my homestead, and I like changed it to the humble home instead of homestead, because I was like, I'm just going to put it all under one, because it's, when you already suffer with executive functioning, like managing just one more thing I was like, I can't. But then I was like, maybe I'll just change it all. And I really felt like the Lord was like, I gave this to you.
Yes.
Like you've been walking out all of these different things all your life because you're finding your purpose. And that's my goal, is to help other women like live out their purpose.
Yes. Yeah,
so
that's really beautiful.
We're just continuing to manage all the things. Maybe not well, but we're doing it. So what would it look like if somebody came to you like for branding outside of photography? Like, do you work with other like other brands, other businesses? I guess?
Oh, so as far as like branding, like who's my ideal client?
You don't just help photographers with branding, right?
No,
okay,
I've actually not worked with a photographer yet.
for branding. Okay, well that's awesome. I don't know why in my
I've
head
worked
I was
with.
like, I feel like we need to clarify. She doesn't just work with photographers.
Yeah, so I've worked with real estate agents.
Okay.
Mortgage lender. I worked with someone that was in construction. I'm working with someone that's like an admin specific for roofers.
Okay.
I've worked with people that are in like the social media space.
Okay.
Just lots of different entrepreneur types, but mostly what I'm finding is it's people that are either in the very beginning stages of building a business, and they need that foundational support, and they recognize, I want to not just get out there and start marketing. I have to have a brand first, because the brand informs the marketing.
Right.
Most people are like, market. You can't market something that you don't first brand.
Right.
And so either they're coming to me in the beginning going, I need to know what all this stuff is, or they're coming to me later because they've never done it and like, I'm just missing. Something isn't landing about my marketing. Something doesn't feel right. What's missing?
So how does somebody shift? Say they've been doing it wrong for 10
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
How do they navigate shifting like all those wrong? I'll say wrong, because obviously they've gotten them somewhere.
Yes,
They've learned from them. But all of those misguided steps, how do you like unlearn that and walk like
That's a great
new
question.
path?
So that's a part of the 8-week process.
Okay.
It's like we're uncovering your why, we're uncovering your origin. And then from there, you have these little homework things that you're doing from that space. And how can we implement this into social media now? How can we implement this into your language? So every week, you're slowly starting to implement, slowly making changes. Like, okay, what is your brand vision? Okay, now how can we start to apply that to content you're creating? How can we start to apply that to emails you're sending out to clients?
Okay.
How does this little thing that we just did start to change everything for you?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so little by little. I can't dump on people. That's a lot.
And AI will do that.
AI doesn't know when to quit.
Sometimes I'll be like, I need to just come up with an idea. I don't know. I'll just type random stuff in there, and it'll like list like 7 options. And I'm like, nope, you've already overwhelmed me.
Yes,
Like, don't you know? Like, I can't.
Yes.
So, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And it's small and manageable for people to walk through.
Okay.
And I hold your hand. Like, I'm here to help. I'm here to be your guide.
I need Trae in my life, maybe.
I would love to work with you. I didn't know this was an interview, but
we don't know what brand we're working on here, but brand strategy my whole life. Oh,
yeah.
so fun. So what else do you like to do, like for fun, like for you?
What do I do for fun for me? I love to cook. My husband and I, we gained the COVID-19 during COVID because we were cooking so much and having so much fun in our kitchen. We worked really hard and we're in a healthier space, but I love cooking. I love feeding people. I love community building that food helps to bring, because we all have to eat. It's an equalizer.
It is.
And when we're eating together, we're sharing something. We're partaking of the same thing. I think this goes back to like Jesus in the Bible. Like he is always eating with people. I'm like, yes, this is what we do. We fellowship around food and around this thing that we all need, so we can feed ourselves and our souls. And so I feel like that's where my passion for food comes in.
And you just recently went through, I don't remember, but you changed like your I don't like to use the word diet, so I know you changed your lifestyle of eating.
Yes.
And so talk a little bit about what that was.
Yeah.
We have the same bracelet.
I know. I was noticing that. And our brand colors too, no less.
So funny.
So I took a DNA test and it unlocked how I was designed, how I was created, and how my body was made to work. And I just slowly started implementing those things.
Okay.
And it's like a roadmap. And then recently, going through perimenopause, because I am a woman of that age.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It is so fun.
Yay.
And I do think that God designed perimenopause for us to draw closer to him. But we can have some extra support.
Right.
And I've found some extra support in the form of peptide therapy. I know everyone's talking about it, and I don't want to go off into that, but I think it's good to be open to what can be the best supportive help for you.
Right.
And I'm not like jabbing myself filled with the Ozempics and all that kind of stuff, but just what can help on this journey through perimenopause.
Okay.
Because I didn't know it was coming for me, because my mom had a hysterectomy, and
I haven't gotten a great history from my mom either.
Yeah,
I've tried to ask her, because I'm 48 and I feel like some things are starting to show signs, and I'm like, but she also had a hysterectomy very young.
Right.
Like I think my sisters, we've all had like just not great female reproductive systems.
Right.
I say that I've birthed 5 kids, but but I had a lot of, I had ovarian cysts removed from my ovaries when I was a kid. I have PCOS.
Yes, I have PCOS too.
God gave me a bunch of kids anyways. Sometimes people are like,
right,
you're lying. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I promise I'm miserable every month. It's like.
Yes. Well, my doctor was like, and this was helpful. He was like, the fact that you have PCOS and you have the kids that you have is like a beautiful gift and a miracle. Yeah. And it's helpful to think of your children as a gift and a miracle in the middle of crazy hectic days.
Yeah, especially on the hard days. Yeah.
Right? Like you're
Sometimes
here
I joke,
and it's a miracle.
Matthias's name means a gift from God, because there's a 14-year gap. And so I'll tell people, God, sometimes he gives gag gifts, but they're still gifts.
They are still gifts. Yes.
He is pretty awesome. But.
Yes. I think our children are a gift from the Lord to help us uncover things about ourselves that's sometimes challenging.
Yeah. They say marriage exposes sin. I think maybe that's just because children come next, and it's
it's very refining.
Yes, very
so refining.
Very refining.
Like, can I give these back to you now? Because I am done being refined. And then he's like, nope, there's more that needs to be done.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you really wanted to? I have to stop pumping that. Really wanted to touch on today that I might have missed?
Yeah, I think something that I would love to talk a little bit more about is, being raised in a Christian home and my parents doing the best that they could with what they had. But the first church that we went to was actually more of like a cult. And from there, we shifted into a church that was more legalistic. And just the struggles of growing up in this very, very refined, boundary-driven Christian experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like I always when I have the opportunity, I always want to speak into that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, there's a lot of people that grow up in similar ways that have ditched it all, right? Like throw it all away.
Yeah. What are they
The
called?
deconstructing.
The deconstructive culture. I almost fell into that, actually.
Yep.
And I'm so glad that the Lord scooped me out
Yes.
before I really got, because we also, and we actually attend the same church, but 25 years ago, it was, I mean, it's a Pentecostal church, and they did have like lots of religious rules.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful that the Spirit of God has moved in a way to like even free the church of that. But and I know that I'm not, you shouldn't carry guilt, because guilt is from the enemy. But
Yes.
I do, because none of our adult children now attend church. And I think a lot of it's because we missed with all the rules and the legalisms and the rigidness, like you can't watch this, you can't do this. They never learned how to have an actual relationship with Christ. And now they're all just doing their thing. And so I'm so grateful to have been able to kind of deconstruct
that's what I was going to say.
With Christ and not like with the world.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I think it's actually really important to deconstruct in the way that takes apart what you were raised in, what you were brought up in, and dissecting it in light of the gospel and in light of the truth of God's word.
Yeah.
And to say, okay, does this thing actually point to Christ in the gospel, or is it a man-made construction? And I will have to say, I do think boundaries are really important and really good.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we need to create those things for ourselves as the Holy Spirit shedding light maybe on some sin habits that we have, maybe on some tendencies that we have. I need to have this boundary in my life.
Right.
Because otherwise I'm going to go all the way over here.
Right.
But not to say everybody else needs to have that same boundary that I have.
Right. You know? We're all created differently. In His image, but differently. All right. So just give me one word of encouragement that you could give the audience, to the women listening, how they could, figure, like, encouraging them to walk out their purpose. What would you say to them?
Just an encouragement to be able to walk out who you were created to be is knowing that your identity is in Christ. Yeah. And who you fully were created to be is found in Him, and not in what the world is trying to tell you that you need to be.
Right.
It's found in His word. You are fearfully and wonderfully made as the woman that God made you to be. And then looking to Scripture to be your guide as how to live that out.
Right. So important. Daily.
Yes. Let's not take what the world says a woman should be. Let's find that in His word.
Right. All right. Well, I just thank you for being here today. Thank you for tuning in. If you're here, if you stuck out to the end, I know we went a little over, but I'm not mad about it. So I consider it a joy that you're here, and I just want to say thank you. And if you found this helpful for you, if you think it would be helpful for a friend, feel free to share it with them, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.